So something else for us to discuss, Alex. I've got
Mm,
a report on my Bleacher app. It says Indiana is moving towards rebuild and open to dealing Karis LeVert and either Domantas Sabonis or Miles Turner from Shams. That's
interesting.
interesting. So it's definitely
Mm.
Karis LeVert and either Sabonis or Turner. So they're open to trading either one of their big men and Karis LeVert. I'm surprised about the Karis LeVert one because obviously he did have his injury and he looked pretty good and he felt like a pretty good asset. But maybe they feel that.
They're just savage, aren't they, bro? They're
And the
savage.
thing is that it's for a rebuild. It's not like they want to retool. It's a complete rebuild. So they're looking for. It seems like they're looking for picks, not necessarily elite player. So that rules out a couple people that you may want to look at. But I'm looking at it from my perspective, which is an Indiana Pacer fan for the regular season for the sixth man, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, well, also other news as well is that TJ McConnell, my man, might be done for the season. He's out with torn ligaments and he looks like he's not coming back. So I'm disappointed about that. You've got to respect Indiana. Any team that wants to rebuild, for them just to say we're just going to shut it down. I think it's such a bold statement to play, and obviously Ed, you know this because the Magic did it last year. They just shut it completely off.
Rick
Um,
Carlisle must be annoyed. I don't think he's anticipating. Actually, to be fair, I think this must have been discussed before he joined. Like, hey, if it gets to this point, we're just going to go for a rebuild.
yeah, and they've got good pieces, but
Yeah,
you don't want to be in the middle. Like we said,
yeah.
you want to be somewhere, and also next year's draft stacked.
I disagree. There's no issue with being in the middle because you can be one move away, a la Chi-Town.
Well, I mean they didn't make first, but I see what you mean. Anyway, Ed, obviously the Pacers are important to you, so I'm going to speak about some potential trades with Mr. Nintendo DS, the Monte Sabonis. Okay, so I've got three options here.
Uh-huh.
We've got Portland. We've got Anthony Simons, dunk champion. Nazir
Orlando
Little
boy, named after Penny. Sorry, carry on.
and Larry Nuts, Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick Starfish. What do you think
Oh,
about
yeah, got it. I was like, Patrick. Oh, yeah, then I got it. Yep, 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 yep.
Okay. Well, do you want me to read out the other two?
Yes, yes. This
Okay.
it's not.
The
Is
one
this
on
is for
there.
this is for Sabonis? You're offering
Yeah.
them Simons and Larry Nance.
Yeah, I mean, they want to be bad. Okay, Timberwolves. Jaden McDaniels, Josh Okogie, and a couple of picks is
McDonald's,
also on that.
Kobe
So
picks.
you've got that means you will have D'Angelo, you still have Anthony Edwards, and you still have Cap. And now you put Sabonis into that mix.
You're talking about all these. I don't know why Indiana will say yes to any of these.
Okay, and the Celtics one is I know, well, you're talking about picks, but Aaron Naismith, Romeo Langford, Pritchard, and Marcus Smart.
None of those stand out from the purely players perspective. It must be about picks and how many picks Indiana can squeeze out of whoever they are looking at. If you're OKC, do you give up a couple of your picks to land Sabonis and someone else for that to be your building block? You don't.
No way.
If you're okay, actually, speaking of, I just got another report. I got another notification from Bleacher. New details in Dame saga. GM candidate won't extend Lillard. Okay. Three teams are waiting for trade demand for Damian Lillard.
Okay,
Could we
interesting.
could we see something happening between Portland and Indiana? And would it be worth either one of them doing anything with each other? Because it doesn't make sense really.
I mean, like you said, it's either picks or it's significantly getting rid of cap room, right? So if they're going to make a deal, I mean, we've had the Blazers deal with him. We had Simons, Nazir Little, and Larry Nuts. You
As
know,
a as a Philly fan, would you take a trade for Karis LeVert and no, because of the Embiid factor? Because you've already got an elite big man. You wouldn't. Neither
yeah, we
one of
wouldn't get
them.
it, but we don't need to talk about Simmons. Could I see Blazers making a move? Potentially, though. I don't see why they would want to get rid of Dame.
Maybe they just want to go for a full rebuild. They realized they cocked up the Dame window and think, fuck, the window's maybe got about 1 or 2 years left. Instead of being ultra aggressive, we're going to be passive and we're going to reset.
Would you, as a neutral fan, Ed, would you take on Lillard right now,
Oh yeah, of course.
considering his injury history?
No, of course, because one of the common themes I've heard by a lot of reporters, not say the reporters are be all and end all, but they do a lot of research, and that's something that I don't think a lot of people give credit to, compared to where some ex-players can sort of say stuff because of clout, and that's fair. They've played the game, they live the game, whatever. But reporters have to do a lot of research, and I see it sometimes when I see some football pundits talk about football. I'm like, oh, you genuinely don't have any idea, and they're not sitting down watching 20 games on a weekend. They'll watch one or two, and because of their clout, they can say stuff, which is fine, forever. Yeah, fair.
It sounds like I said, watch one or
No,
two, and then we
no, definitely not. Definitely not. I will say with my chest what I don't know about. I say all that to say, one of the things that they mentioned was you can't win a title without a top 10 or top 15 player. Damian Lillard is a top 15 player. The best team around him was what? CJ McCollum and Hassan Whiteside. I'm trying to remember who was his third best player ever on a team. Evan Turner. Maybe I'm forgetting about some of the old Portland teams when it was him and LaMarcus. And
it's not
that's the
Evan
best.
Turner. I'll tell you that much.
But he's never really been on an elite team. You could put the blame on his shoulders. Maybe it's his fault. He never had an elite team, but the fact that Portland didn't go all in, saying, "Listen, here's everything. We're going to go all in for this year, for this asset, for this player to help with Dame and CJ." That never happened. They never put all their chips on the table. So if I was one of the elite teams looking for a point guard, a leader, of course, why not? Who would be the number one candidate? I have no idea. Who would be a fun candidate?
Well, I mean, it really depends, doesn't it? Who's willing to risk it? Who's willing to risk it? I don't know how many years Dame's got left in his contract, but I do agree with you. I think he is the next level. So if you're gonna make a gamble, why not make it on him? Moving back to Indiana, just before we go off track,
Yeah,
out of Levert, Sabonis, and Miles Turner, who do you think is the most exciting trade asset?
you got to say the All Star. It's got to be Sabonis. One of the things with when I was reading some stuff about some of the rookies and Evan Mobley, they were saying that it's so hard to find a really, really good big, but you can find a lot of really good guards. There's so many good guards all over the NBA. There's a lot of really good starting point guards, but to find really elite bigs, it's really tricky. The fact that it's not a bad thing, but who's the third best big in the league? Cat's the third best big in the league, maybe. We know who the top two are. Depends who you think three. Could be Vooch, could be Cat, could be Bam. Bam's been injured for a little while. That does feel like a drop off. Whereas point guards, you can go 8, 9 deep, and you think these are all really, really, really good point guards. So because of that, that sort of moves Caris LeVert away, and it's either Sabonis or Miles Turner. Now, Miles Turner does have that defensive chops. He's leading the league in blocks, I believe, per game. However, Sabonis is the former All-Star. He can get you buckets, and he's more likely to be able to play the 4-4 and space the floor. So I would say Sabonis is obviously the biggest trade asset, but it depends who needs a 4. Who could really do with it? Toronto, what are they doing with Siakam? If they replace Siakam with one of their
They've got
guys,
Scotty Barnes, so he's going to be really good.
I think he does look really good, but how are they moving forward? Do you reckon they can need a center? So would they go for someone like Miles Turner? What could they do? Could they trade? Could they trade Caris LeVert and Miles Turner for Siakam? And would Siakam and Sabonis fit together? I'm not sure, but it's going to be some really fun trade ideas actually.
I don't think Sabonis fits with a lot of teams personally.
Why not?
I think he's a liability on the defensive end, and also he doesn't really shoot that well. He's a good stats guy though, and I would like to see him in a different situation. But I mean, it hasn't translated, has it?
Can we see a little European link up? Can we send him to Dallas and see what him and Luka can do together? A little European
Why
link
not?
up.
Why not? I would like that. But I also think I would love to see Sabonis at the 5, a small ball 5, and then just surrounded with shooters. And Luka is like same height as their tallest player, Maxi Kleber.
I was going to say CJ for Demontis, but Indiana says no.
Give me CJ. I want CJ.
Yeah, I'll say Indiana would say no. Oh wow, interesting.